Hello, everybody. It is Friday, October 3rd, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it, starting with the 49ers, who beat the Rams on Thursday Night Football in overtime in Los Angeles. It was a great game, a tough game, a real test of character for this team, and we showed how tough and determined we are. The final score was 26-23 in overtime, and it was a roller coaster of a game once again for the 49ers. We started out very well. I said in my keys to the game and yesterday's video that it was going to be important to score on the first possession of each half. We did that, a touchdown in the first quarter, and then in the third quarter, our first possession, we kicked a field goal, although we could have scored a touchdown there. Um, yeah, we scored on our first three possessions, I believe. Yeah, 17 first half points is very good. And I was a little bit concerned, a little bit worried about how the offense was going to look, especially after the Jacksonville game. Mac Jones, man, he looked great. And in the first half, everything was clicking. The Niners defense held them to 7 points in the half. And that was what happened in the first half. And the second half, the Rams clawed their way back, and they had plenty of chances to um, overtake us and take the lead, but they did not. And that was because when the Rams marched down the field, the 49ers and Alfred Collins, the rookie defensive tackle, punched out the football from Kyron Williams on the 1 yard line and forced a turnover, forced a fumble, recovered the fumble. Fantastic play from Alfred Collins. And we did punt the ball away after that because we were on the 1 yard line. But it was a huge game changing stop. Shout out Alfred Collins. And because of that, the Rams couldn't score a touchdown. They could only score a field goal to send the game to overtime. And then what happened in overtime was we got the ball first, went down the field, were driving really very well, and then took a sack on second down in the red zone, and then we couldn't convert on third down. It was incompletion, so we kicked a field goal with Pinheiro, and it just made it in. He kicked it from the left hash, and it went completely straight from where he was to where he kicked it. It was completely straight. And what that meant was, as it was going in, it scraped the upright. And I still think it was a good kick because it was completely straight. And when it hit the upright, it didn't stop spinning end over end. It didn't have any weird spin at all. It just scraped it and kind of went like it was going here, and then it hits it, and then it goes this way. So, and Pinheiro had a great game. We'll get to that in the stats. But nice to have a kicker who can make kicks, right? And then the Rams went down the field on two plays, basically. The second play was an absolute bomb from Stafford. It was a 38-yard pass. It looked way longer than that to Atwell. And the Rams definitely had a chance to tie the game or even win the game. It was 4th and 1 at I believe, in the red zone. It was at the 11-yard line. So it would have been a chip shot field goal, although the Rams kicker did miss an extra point, which was blocked, and a field goal in the game. He had a rough game. But yeah, they didn't. They ended up deciding we're going to go for the win. We're going to try and go for it here on 4th and 1 from the opponent's 11. And Kyron Williams got the handoff, and he got stuffed. No yards. 49ers swarmed the football. Warner was there, obviously. Michael Williams was in there. He didn't make the tackle, but he, took on a block. Chase Lucas was there. Siegel, Lenore. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. But, yeah, all the guys came thrashing in and stopped them short of the line again. It was so hype. I was screaming my head off. It was fantastic. So yeah, Niners win 26-23 in overtime against the Rams. Let's take a look at some of the great performers from the game yesterday, starting with the quarterback of the 49ers, Mac Jones, the backup quarterback, the best backup in the league, in my opinion. Um, 33 for 49 completions on attempts. He passed for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. No turnovers whatsoever for Mac Jones, which is a big key to the game. I also said we should not turn the ball over, and we did. We won the turnover battle 2-0. That was an important part of the game. Christian McCaffrey, of course, he had a great game. He had 22 carries for 57 yards. He had how many catches did he have? Does it even say? I think it was 8 catches. I had to find it down there. 8 catches for 82 yards. So another game where he had more receiving yards than rushing yards, but he still had a very respectable amount of both. And he had a receiving touchdown, another receiving touchdown. Still no rushing touchdowns for the 49ers yet, but as long as we get it in the end zone, I don't care if it's handed off or thrown. McCaffrey with a receiving touchdown. So that comes out to 30 touches in total for a touchdown and 139 total yards. It is the fourth time he's gone for 139 plus this year. The only other time he didn't, only time he didn't was when he had like 104. So still very respectable, which means he's had 100 plus in every game. KB Kendrick Bourne had a massive game, career day for KB. He had 10 catches for 142 yards and only one drop, which is 3 less than last week. And he hung on to 10 of them. He had a big game for the 49ers. Jake Tonjes, 7 catches, including a touchdown. Juszczyk had 1 carry and 1 catch. Or no, he had multiple catches, didn't he? 3 catches. Sorry about that. He had 1 carry. And then the final offensive, but also a special teams player stats that we're going to look at is the kicker, Eddie Pinheiro. He was 4 for 4 with 2 extra points as well. He hit from 41, 37. What was the other one here? 41, 37, 20. And then the big one, 59-yard field goal, his career long, and it was good probably from like 65, if we're being honest. It was, yeah, Eddie Pinheiro, you are the man. You are the man. 59-yard field goal to take the lead with 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Man, that's incredible. Looking at the Rams, Matthew Stafford balled out 30 completions for 389 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. He did have 1 fumble, which was not on him at all. He pitched it to the running back, Corum, and Corum dropped it. So it's not really on him. Matthew Stafford had a great game. Kyren Williams, 14 carries and 8 catches. So 22 touches in total for 131 total yards and 2 touchdowns. He did, however, fumble the ball on the 1-yard line. Puka Nacua continuing his fantastic campaign, 10 catches for 85 yards and a tutty. Devontae Adams had 5 catches for 88 yards. And then the kicker for the Rams, Joshua Carty, was 1 for 2. He missed a 53-yard field goal, made a 48-yarder as time expired in regulation, and then 2 for 3 on extra points. Another block kick for the Rams special teams. That's a big thing to note, They 2 were blocked against the Eagles, and if it wasn't for the second block, they would have 4 wins. And really, they might have 5 wins if they don't have any block kicks this year. And then he also tried to do a little dirty ball kickoff that we're seeing nowadays with the knuckleball. It didn't reach the landing zone. That's how overtime started, and we got the ball in the 40, which allowed us the easier chance to score. So those are all the stats. It kind of took me a while to get through all that, but like I said, let's just go back to some of the points that I've written down here. The first one is the turnover battle. I said we cannot turn the ball over. That's how we win games with Purdy, and that's how we will win games with Mac Jones when Purdy is out, and that's what happened yesterday. No turnovers. That we won the turnover battle 2-0 with 2 fumbles that we recovered. And the second one, obviously, was a massive play in order to prevent them from scoring a touchdown and taking the lead late in the game. And then also, not even just all the turnovers, we made a lot of great defensive plays. We only had one sack, and it was early in the game from Huff, and we didn't really get much pressure, which is something we have to do in order if we want to be successful. Because you saw Stafford, he had time and he carved us up for 389 yards. But even though we did give up a lot of yards, we still made nice defensive plays and really held the Rams in check for the first 2 quarters. And then when they started throwing the balls, when Stafford went ballistic. So good job by the defense, especially forcing the stop on 4th down and 1 with a big play in the game. And yeah, big play. I also talked about Eddie Pinheiro and how good he is, and it's so refreshing to know that there's a kicker that we can go out and trust every day. The reason that we wanted Jake Moody in the first place is because he could kick from far away, and we were willing to sacrifice a little bit of the consistency and accuracy for the power. And it looks like Pinheiro, even though he is extremely accurate, also has a little bit of leg on him. He hit from 59. And honestly, with the whole Moody experience and knowing that Robbie Gould was so good for us, I'd rather have the accuracy over the kick distance. But it looks like Pinheiro is the best of both worlds, at least right now. So that is great. And the last point that I want to make, and it's a whole another debate that it could spark, but we're going to try and keep it a little bit briefer. We still have wild card stuff to talk about. Is Mac Jones, the way he played was great, and especially when you consider how tough he is. He was dealing with a leg injury, a knee injury, pretty much since week 2. And I thought at one point he was out for the season. I mean, he took a hit and he went down. He was holding his knee. Apparently, it was just cramps. But if you look at like all of his accessories, like he has a little bit like half sleeves and the long sleeve jersey and the towel. If you look at all that and his jersey in general, everything was ripped up and all dirty and bloody. He's an absolute warrior, man. And when you get a performance like that from your backup quarterback on Thursday Night Football, um, it means a lot to the team. He did a great job. He's now 3-0 starting for us this year. Mac Jones, shout out to you for being a warrior, a soldier, man. Did a great job. And with that being said, he is 3-0 as a starter this year. And some people who are not very smart are questioning if he should be the starter over Brock Purdy when Brock Purdy comes back. I say no, no. Brock Purdy is getting paid so much money, and he is, no disrespect to Mac Jones, Brock is better than Mac. With that being said, Mac is very good. And I think he's earning himself a nice contract with New Orleans next year or a team like that. He's definitely in like a Sam Darnold situation, like last year in Minnesota, where he came in, was spectacular, earned himself a franchise spot. I think Mac Jones is really doing that, and I'm not complaining as long as we're winning ball games. It doesn't really matter who's starting games, although I'd like to see Purdy starting games. But the reason why I think Mac Jones has looked better is because I guess kind of the game plan a little bit. Not saying that, Purdy can't do, I don't know you know, let's reset there. The game plan is what allowed Mac Jones to be so good, and there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but I think that Purdy going up against Jacksonville and Seattle, which are much tougher defenses than the ones that Mac Jones has faced, that definitely adds to it. But I think that when Purdy does come back, what I would like to see from Kyle and all the offensive guys and everything like that is I want to see Purdy doing more of what makes Brock Purdy so good, which is being unbelievably, ridiculously good at finding guys who are open and getting the ball to them efficiently and on time and on target. I think just because you're paying him so much money doesn't mean that he has to do more. Like last year, he was saying he felt like he had to do more and he was forcing stuff. I don't think you have to do that. Part of what makes Brock so good is his ability to be the ultimate point guard and dish it out to all of our skill position players. That being said, we haven't had a lot of those guys for the first quarter of the year, but those guys are coming back. And it feels like everyone's coming back for next week. We got 10 days to rest up. Kittle potentially could play. Ayuk potentially could play. Jennings and Pearsall should play. And then Brock also should be coming back. And with those really 5 guys who are coming back, and I think what I want to see is next week in Tampa Bay, I want to see more of what Mac Jones was doing, which was what makes Kyle Shanahan's offense so potent is the play action, but not even just the play action. It's just getting the ball to guys in space. And when you have Kittle and Ayuk coming back, um, obviously Debo is no longer on the team, but the Yak Bros are all coming back. Even though Debo is in Washington, you can add McCaffrey to those guys, the Yak Bros. Even Jennings and Pearsall are tough after the catch. Just get the ball to guys in space. You don't have to stretch the field so much vertically. You don't have to, if you want to get 15 yards passing the football, sometimes you just have to throw it 5 yards and let Kittle run over somebody or let Jennings stiff arm somebody in the face and then go for another 10 yards. You don't have to force the ball down the field. You can just move the ball down the field methodically, and that's how we have success. I mean, Brock Purdy, when he first came in, he ran the Shanahan offense better than probably anyone's ever run it, except for maybe 2016 Matt Ryan, who won MVP. He was so efficient, so decisive, and we need to get back to that when Purdy's back. You don't need to change anything up because you know the system works. Obviously, you like to run the ball a little bit better, and that helps, and you have that to be able to do play action and just get 4 or 5 yards to carry. Um, but I think no matter who's starting, Purdy or Jones, as long as we can do the things that we did well last night, continuing, we're gonna be just fine. We're gonna be just fine. So 4-1 atop the division. Just spent 17 minutes talking Niners. Now let's transition over to what happened in baseball yesterday. There were 3 game threes. The first, or since the wild card series started, and it went from just 1 game to multiple games, there were 2 game threes in the past 2 years, 3 years, and this year alone there were 3. And we'll start with Detroit, who beat Cleveland to advance to the ALDS against Seattle. It was a classic AL Central game. Every single game in this series was tied at 1 going into the 7th inning. And then the Tigers finally got a clutch hit, kind of like the Giants' problems, where we just couldn't get any clutch hits. The Tigers in game 2, 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position. And yesterday, they got hits. They won. Let's pull up the score here. I was just looking at my notes. They won, let's find it, 6-3. They scored 4 runs in the 7th inning. And, or actually, it was 1-1 going into the 6th inning. I apologize. So they scored 5 runs over the 6th and 7th inning. And even though Cleveland made it close, Detroit got all the hits with runners in scoring position. They were much better offensively. It was a classic AL Central game, The win went to Kyle Finnegan, and the loss went to Joey Cantillo. The starters, once again, got pulled pretty early, although Flaherty did go 4 2/3. And, that was the game. The Tigers defeat the Guardians and move on to the ALDS. And the second game was in Chicago, where the Cubs won 3-1. The winning pitcher in that one was Danny Palencia, and the save went to Andrew Kittredge. The loss to Yu Darvish. 3-1. Chicago, they won this game 1 and game 3, thanks to their pitching and their defense. Dansby Swanson had a magnificent series with the glove. He's one of the best defensive shortstops, if not the best defensive shortstop in baseball. He was great. And the pitching, the bullpen was also really good once again. Palencia, Keller, and Kittredge, I think, pitched in every single game. And they were good. Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, finally broke out, had a big game in the postseason. He went 3 for 4. He had an RBI and a run. And like I said before, they need that if they want to make a run here. I also said Kyle Tucker would need to step up, and he was 2 for 4 with a run. Michael Bush, 3 for 4. He had a homer. The Cubs had 13 hits in the game, which is a recipe for success. The Padres had 7 hits, but they left 8 men on base. So did the Cubs. But the Padres had plenty of chances. They didn't score their first run till the ninth inning on a Jackson Merrill homer, but they definitely had chances. Tatis was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, which you'll love to see as a Giants fan. But they definitely had their chances. But Tatis, Arias, and Machado, they were 0 for 11 combined with 1 walk, which was Machado. So you need better performances from those guys if you want to win ball games. And then there was a bad strike three call on Xander Bogaerts in the ninth inning. You never know how it would have gone down. I mean, the bases would have been loaded. So what are you gonna do, right? Um, you can speculate. It might have gone differently. It might not have. Who knows, right? So yeah, Chicago advances to the A or NLDS. And since the episode is going long, well, I was already planning on making my predictions tomorrow, but now I definitely am gonna make all my predictions tomorrow before the games start. I'll break down each division series. The last division series that we have to talk about involves the Yankees, who had a commanding performance. It was from their rookie starter, Cam Schlittler. The Yankees won 4-0. The winning pitcher, of course, Cam Schlittler, who dominated. We'll get into that in a second. And then Connolly Early took the loss for the Red Sox, although he was pretty good. We'll actually start with Early. He went 3 2/3, gave up 6 hits and a walk, struck out 6, gave up 3 earned runs, 4 runs in total. And for a young guy making his fourth or fifth career start, he was pretty good. The first time through the lineup, didn't allow a run. And then later on, it seemed like the Yankees, when they got their big inning, they scored 4 in 1 inning. That was it. They just got hits that had eyes. They found the outfield off a couple people's gloves in the Red Sox infield. And yeah, fielder's choice as well, and an error to score a run. So you can't really put that on Early. He had a nice game. And, he was a young kid making a postseason start, and he did well until the Yankees figured him out. One other kid another rookie who made his postseason debut was Cam Schlittler, and holy moly, he was fantastic. He went 8 shutout innings, scoreless, gave up 5 hits, no walks, struck out 12. He had 100 pitches through 6, came back out for the 7th inning. Yeah, or for the 8th inning, right? He had 100 through 7, and then went back out for the 8th and did it on 7 pitches. He's the first rookie in postseason history to go 8 scoreless without walking anybody and striking out 10 plus. He cemented his name in Yankees postseason history, which is a crazy thing to say considering they have 27 championships. Dominant performance from the rookie. Mad Bum esque. You throw that around lightly because Bum was so good in 2014 for the Giants, but that's what it felt like. He went 8 scoreless and struck out 12. Dominant, dominant. He's a rookie. Throws 100 and with 3 different ways: four seam, sinker, cutter. And Red Sox had no answer for him. And then straight to the closer, Bednar, who finished it off. You know, I don't know what else there is to say. It's a legendary performance from Schlittler, and New York advances over Boston. They win the rivalry series. And super excited. There are some great matchups in the division series. Basically, every single one. In my opinion, I think 3 of them are going to go 5 games, the full 5. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in that episode. Just to recap, 49ers win on Thursday Night Football in overtime. The Yankees, Cubs, and Tigers all advance to the next round. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk about those next rounds. So have a good day, and I'll see you.